So I decided to go into sales. First month, because I wasn't paying attention, I rocked. We were selling land. Let me tell you where my job was. My beat, my territory was the Pentagon. The land I was selling was in El Paso, Texas. Now, how many people do you think came and knocked on my door and said, I want to buy a piece of land in El Paso? Not a living soul, correct? Not a living soul. If you were selling land in El Paso, Texas to a colonel or a general or a captain in the military, what would be the most likely objection? Come on. Well, I want to see it. Why would I buy land I can't see? So that was the objection I would get all the time. So, do you get certain objections all the time? Price? Think it over? Of course you get those objections. Well, have you prepared the perfect response for each one? Or you keep worrying about it each time? Well, that makes no sense to me. So I went to the 5 and 10 cent store back then, EJ Corvettes, remember that? EJ Corvettes? And bought in those days it was only 10 cents, a cactus in a little plastic thing. So people say, I want to see it. I would put a cactus on their desk. So that's what it looks like. It might have a jackrabbit and a tumbleweed, but that's it. And I really developed a whole story around that. Became the #1 salesman in the country for Horizon Land Corporation. Know everything about your competition. Know everything about the sales funnel. Never mention a competitor by name unless asked. Not only don't mention a competitor by name, but don't even use the word competitor. Change it to industry standard. Let me give you the example. The industry standard is this, and we do it like this. Because if you say my competition does it like that, you're making people believe there's competition. I never even want that to enter into the conversation. There is no competition. How dare you give them credibility? I was in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and I sold a pool to a guy who has the personality type that never buys on the first call. By the way, there are 2 personality types that buy on the first call, one sometimes and one never. How important is it for you to know that? Because, listen, there's a callback and then there's a hope to be back. A callback is where you strategically separate your presentation over 2 days. You make part of it, you stop, and then you continue it at a later date. That's a true callback. Going through your entire pitch and then trying to get back in the door is a hope to be back. So I want to know before I get to the point where I'm going to make that decision what personality type this is, because I know whether I can close them on the first call or it's going to be a callback. I want to know that because it alters my strategy. There's a lot of things you have to factor in on strategy. If you're first in, if you're last in, if you're straddled, somebody's coming in from front behind you, or you're in a competitive situation, all that alters your strategy. But most salespeople do not change their presentation based upon the situation. A fast talker thinks a slow talker is stupid. A slow talker thinks a fast talker is slick. They don't call them fast, they change that word to slick talkers. Do you want to be perceived as a slick talker from your prospect? I would hope not. They have different personalities, which require, by the way, each personality requires a totally different opening, a totally different presentation, and a totally different close. If you do an assumptive close with a high D, they're going to throw you out. So sales 101 books will tell you to assume the sale. 1 out of 4 people that buy from you are going to kick you out of their office. Well, that's no good. They are move towards, move away motivated. Even though I'm not telling you to take notes on something I wrote, I want you to make a point here. What I mean, all people buy of 1 of 2 main things, to gain or to avoid. You need to figure out whether they buy to gain or to avoid, because your closing sequence must be framed in either gain or avoid terminology. Let me give you an example. If someone does things on lowest risk, that's their motivation, that's their mentality. They're low risk. And I'm going to, let's say I can save them $10,000 a month. If someone's a low risk person, I'm saying you're losing $10,000 every month you delay this decision. That's the move away answer to that personality. Same $10,000 a month, but this guy buys the game. You're going to be saving 10 grand a month every month after you implement this program. Same 10 grand, but you just couch it in different, and frame it in different terminology. And on my own little worksheet, when I'm talking to a prospect, I put a plus or a minus sign and circle around it when I'm talking to a prospect to remind myself, is this person someone buys to gain or to avoid? Critical piece of information.